Hi everyone, today we're looking at the story of Adam and Eve, looking at temptation and choice. At the beginning of the Bible there's a book called Genesis, and in chapter 3 we hear all about how Adam and Eve are given this beautiful amazing garden and lots of rules by God to look after things and to take care of things, but there was one thing they could not do, and that was to not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden. But then along comes a serpent and tempts Eve into making her question what God has said and whether actually disobeying God would actually have any consequences. So she chooses to eat the fruit, and then she gives it to Adam and says, have some of this, and he says, yep, sounds great, so he has some too. And at that point, that decision that they made broke their relationship between them and God. The Bible says that God came walking in the garden, and Adam and Eve for the first time ever were hiding because they became aware that they were naked and they were afraid. And then when God asked them what happened, they start blaming each other, they blame the serpent, all the consequences of their sins start to pour out. The story reminds us that when we are tempted, we will always face a choice, and we can give in or we can walk away. The Bible tells us repeatedly that God gives us free will. He's created us to make our own decisions, to be wise, to be clever, to learn, but also that means we've got to be responsible for the decisions we make. We will all experience pressure to do things that we know are wrong. It could be cheating, gossiping, excluding someone, lying, or just going along with the crowd because you want to fit in. And sometimes walking away will feel really, really difficult. But the Bible says that there will always be an option. There will always be a way out of whatever temptation we face. God doesn't leave us to just sit in a temptation on our own. He doesn't trap us in a place where there's nothing we can do apart from give in to temptation. He does promise to help us to make the right and wise choices. But it doesn't mean it's easy. A question for you guys to think about today. When have you been under pressure to do the wrong thing and you've chosen to walk away instead of going along with the crowd?